liberty and justice for all.
And acknowledge Julie and Ron are here in person. Paul, are you on the phone?
Yes.
Mrs. Ducius. Liz, are you on the phone?
Yes, I am present.
Mrs. Weissel.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Okay, all present. And I need a motion for approval of the special board meeting minutes of July 13th, 2020, the regular meeting minutes of July 13th, 2020, negotiations committee meeting minutes of July 16th, 2020, policy committee meeting minutes of July 22nd, 2020, negotiations committee meeting minutes of July 23rd, 2020, and policy committee meeting minutes of July 29th, 2020.
This is Carla Weiss. I have a question. So, Mrs. Pappas started adding that when she's voting no, she's going to put on like a rebuttal on there for the special board meeting. Is that something we're always going to do then? Because like when I voted no in the past, maybe because I wasn't told how the EAB was calculated, or maybe I wasn't given receipts, then I didn't write in there, oh, I'm going to have a rebuttal. Is that going to be the policy now?
You can always explain your vote, Mrs. Weissel.
Exactly, but now we're writing that's our new policy, is that we're always writing it in that way now?
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Mrs. Pappas changed all the minutes to make sure that it said rebuttal item or rebuttal. So is that how we're doing it from now on?
That's what happened in the meeting, and I rebutted everything that was brought up, and that's a fact.
Which meeting are you talking about, Catherine?
The special board meeting on July 13th. I requested that that be added to the minutes because that's what I did.
Okay, so that's what I will do in the future then. Whenever I vote no to something, I will make sure that it says rebuttal or concern or something like that. We have not, I don't ever remember doing it like that before.
Okay, that's fine. I need a motion for approval.
So moved, Pappas.
Second.
Is there a second?
Okay. Weissel,
Yes.
Ducius,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Pappas,
Yes.
Mazur,
Yes.
Goldberg,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
motion carried.
Need a motion for approval of the negotiations executive session committee meeting minutes of July 16th, 2020, and negotiations executive session committee meeting minutes of July 23rd, 2020.
So moved.
Second?
Ducius, second.
Okay, Hernandez,
Yes.
Pappas,
Yes.
Mazur,
Yes.
Goldberg,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Weissel,
Yes.
motion carried.
We need a motion for approval of the August 2020 expenses. You have some additional expenses in your packet.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I see that we have the July legal services from Hauser and Izzo on here. Have we not received anything for the current law firm?
As soon as we receive any bills, they're brought to the board for approval, and you'll see them in your board package.
Okay.
Any other questions on the August expenses?
Yeah, this is Liz, had a question on the additional expenses. There was a column to the left of the schedule with some indicators and boxes on there. Didn't know if that meant anything.
It's just
There
for
wasn't
Kara's
a header.
purpose. It's just for Kara and accounts payable, her purposes. It means really nothing to us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any others?
In addition, I have a question. How are we tracking COVID-related expenses or additional expenses maybe for this year? Would like an explanation on that.
Yeah, we're actually coding all of our COVID-related expenses in 2 different areas, so we'll be able to access that information very quickly.
Okay, and can you specify what areas those are?
I would have to look up what the exact account numbers are. I don't have that in front of me.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Fuchsia, second.
Okay, Hernandez,
Yes.
Pappas,
Yes.
Missouri,
Yes.
Goldrick,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Weissel,
Yes.
Duchess,
Yes.
motion carried.
Who's Mike on?
He is.
Hey, Mike, are you
Yep,
on?
I'm on the phone.
Okay,
I am.
time for the treasurer's report.
All right. All righty. Balance in the superannual account at First Community Bank as of July 31st was $2,436,704.28. We had outstanding checks at month end totaling $24,472.68. Excuse me. We had a payroll expense that didn't hit till August of $13,086.32, and then another payroll expense from 7/31 of $49.02, leaving the adjusted bank balance at $2,394,225.28. The lunch program balance was $624.95, impress fund balance $5,000, leaving the total in the account at $2,399,985.23. The investment accounts balances were $12,276,508.15, leaving the balance of all funds as of July 31st at $14,676,358.38. We received receipts in the amount of $590,460.36, and expenses in July were $1,289,716.80. The fund balances at month end were education fund, $5,811,812.47. Building fund, $3,143,577.11. Bond and interest fund, $1,018,589.60. Transportation fund, $1,645,421.94. IMRF, $28,358.70. Working cash, $2,474,184.86. Tort fund, $162,136.48. And life safety finished at $392,277.22. The deposits from the state were a little light. Oops, I forgot the interest. The interest at month end was $1291.62. The state deposits were a little light this month. We had 3. Title I, $11,097. Title II, $2,684. And Title IV, $4,338. And we did receive the 4th real estate distribution in July for $487,899.94. And then those fund balances are in the packet.
Hey, Mike, you're pretty up to date on your packets, on your financial reports, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I just want to, for the rest of the board, that says that we have spent over the last several years, prior board, this board, Well, I've been on this board since 15, and I don't take that lightly. I just want everybody to know in 2015 when I was elected in with Paul Meyer, Karen Scrameni, Eddie Palmisano, we came in with a balance of 731 of 15, 11,983,094.69. Now take into account that we've done a lot of things in the last 5 years. Okay, and I'll jump here. If anybody wants to see these, I'll put them up here. But in 2020, at today's meeting, all of our balance of funds are $14,676,000. Okay, so we've gone out and took care of projects, and we still stay fiscally solvent. So whoever the rumor is becoming that we're overspending, please end it there, because I have it right here, and I have the emails. Anybody wants to go back, these are August of 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, and 15 board packets, and I'm sure you can get them from the district office. So let's just dispel that rumor, whoever's spreading it. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Mike?
Can you address if there were any changes to the 630 balances because of year end or any other subsequent updates? So the balances we received in the packet essentially were all final.
So those won't be final until the auditor certifies them. So those are unaudited. But Marla and Mike can chime
Unaudited,
in.
right.
Marla and Mike can chime in, but as of my knowledge, there have been no significant changes to those revenue or expenses numbers as of June 3rd.
And Mike, you said those numbers are
That's
correct?
correct. I haven't seen any significant changes to anything from those 630 numbers.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Need a motion to accept the...
Wait, Larry?
Yeah, go ahead.
Larry? It's Carla. I would like to say that just, I don't think people are always aware that those reserves are very important if we need to put in like an addition above the junior high. So that's very important with the enrollment increasing, although it looks like it hasn't in the last month or so. We're still waiting for those numbers to come in, but we may need to put something above the junior high. So I think that's important for that. I want to add that in.
Hey, Carla, if you look in your board packet, it looks like we dropped a few students.
I know, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen. We'll see what happens with all this COVID. I saw that.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Pappas,
Yes.
Mazur,
Yes.
Goldberg,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Weissel,
Yes.
Duchess,
Yes.
and Weissel. I think or missed somebody.
I thought I said yes.
One.
Okay.
Hernandez,
Yes.
motion carried. Sorry about that.
Okay, these are some remarks that were sent to be read at the June board meeting, and due to whatever error, they were not read. And we apologize to those people sending them in, and we will read those now. This is from Mary Burdick. Hello, my name is Mary Burdick. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend the meeting, but I would like to share my thoughts. I have worked in this district for 39 years and have been a taxpayer in this district. I have had the privilege of working with many superintendents, Some were great, others not so much. Mr. Cox has been, in my opinion, an outstanding superintendent that knows exactly what his job is. Mr. Cox does not sit in his office. He is out checking on his building staff, and I was told by a bus driver that he visits them also. He is always looking into the best interests of our students, faculty, and community. He is open-minded and is willing to listen to those with concerns, and then willing to meet with groups and discuss those concerns and resolve them. He has handled many difficult situations with utmost dignity and consideration during his time in the Beecher School District. During this pandemic, I saw a leader who thought through a plan and initiated it. Listening to other people from other districts, we were way ahead of them in the preparation and initiation of e-learning. From conversations with Mr. Cox, his main concern was for the students in the Beecher School District 200U. He provided support to his staff on every level. I have great respect for a superintendent that knows what his job entitles and how to deal with it. That is Mr. Cox. I understand being a board member is not an easy job, but when leadership is there, it makes their job easier. Many times it is difficult to separate an individual's agenda from what is best for the majority of individuals involved. When an official is elected, they are the voices of those that elect them. I would hope that they hear our voices and reconsider a revote for the extension of Mr. Cox's contract. Continuity is what makes a district run smoothly. We have seen many resolutions in the district under the guidance of Mr. Cox. I would hope that this board has searched out the wishes of the taxpayers before voting on very important issues. I have confidence in Mr. Cox and would like to have confidence in the elected board. You are not only 7 people, but represent a community. I encourage you to listen to the voices of this community. Thank you for your time. Mary Burton. And this one is from Sarah Barr, and it states simply, I support renewing Mr. Cox's contract. This is from Kim Ketman. I completely disagree with the decision not to renew Brad Cox's contract. He has gone above and beyond our expectations of a superintendent. We have lived here 14 years now and currently have 2 children in the school district. I cannot even reasonably understand why it would be in anyone's best interest to not renew his contract at this time. Not only has he made an incredible improvement for our schools, but he has handled this pandemic with substantial determination to ensure the best interest of our children's education. No matter what the underlying factors are for board members to vote no, even if it's in regards to him ensuring he has employment, requesting extensions to duration of his contract, this is ridiculous that our town would take the chance to have someone not current with the actions he has taken to ensure we progress forward through all of this. I am beyond disgusted and cannot believe individuals that have voted no don't even have children in our schools that this would impact. I would hope there will be consideration to revise or make an exception to retract the current voting that initially took place. Regards, Kim Ketman. This is from Julie Johnston. Hi, I graduated from Beecher High School in 1998 and decided to move back to Beecher because of the school district. We wanted our daughters to have the opportunities that would help them grow their education and grow overall as a person. I appreciate what a great administration we now have. We have a positive presence in the school where when I was in school, I had no communication with administration, nor did I see them at extracurricular activities. There is not, excuse me, there is not animosity within our current administration. They work very well together to benefit our children. I'd like to say that watching the superintendent hiring process has given me a new respect for the hiring process. It's long, tedious, costly, and a drawn-out process. Why would we go through that once again when we have a current superintendent that has embedded himself in our kids' lives and done amazing things for our district and community? Many things stick out in my mind when I first met him at his interview. He is all for doing what is right for our children while not being afraid to tell it like it is. He had confidence and compassion, and he was down to earth. You could ask him anything, and he was honest. You could tell he wasn't BSing his way into a job. Our district is better because of this man. He is smart and has a positive vision that helped our district during his past year transitioning to e-learning. He truly has the district's best interest in mind. I would absolutely hate for our district to lose such an amazing asset. I saw Mr. Cox at the end of the year reverse parade waving. I asked my second grader if she knew who he was. She said yes. He's at our school sometimes and always says hi. He is always smiling, Mom. This really hit home for me personally. I'm happy we have such powerful, positive influences with our schools. Our kids would not have had the opportunity to stay on track in their education if we didn't have the technology of one-to-one. Mr. Cox pushed for this and has made our district better because of it. There are so many districts behind right now, and I am proud to say and tell my family members and friends in other districts what we have here in Beecher. Brad Cox has moved his family to our community to go to school in our district. His wife opened a business and they hosted a foreign exchange student. This speaks volumes as him caring about our district, the children, and the community. He is an example of what we all want in not only a superintendent, but as a citizen of our town and a friend. There is no reason not to renew Superintendent Brad Cox's contract. To be honest, he has been a blessing and an asset to our district. He genuinely has the students' best interest at heart. I sincerely hope you reconsider and extend his contract. Thank you for taking the time to read this. Julie Johnston.
Need help with that later? Want me to read some of them?
Yeah, could you?
I can too. I'd be happy to.
This looks like it's from Melissa Sipple. As a fifth-generation Beecher family with a daughter going into her sophomore year and another that just graduated, we were very happy when Mr. Cox was hired to be our superintendent. I was happy to serve on the Community Advisory Committee with him. It was apparent to me how much he cared about our schools and how much he wanted them to succeed. Never in all of the years of our girls being in school have we seen a superintendent more present or more in the student lives and their success. We voted for our school board in hopes that they would be the voice of the people that they were elected to serve. Sadly, that does not seem to be the case with some of them, and we don't know why some members have voted against his extension, nor are they willing or forthcoming with this information. Talk to the students, talk to the parents with children in the school. Mr. Cox has been a breath of fresh air we so desperately needed. It is in our hope that the board rethinks and votes for what is best for our children. We have an administrator in Mr. Gahan and Mr. Cox that are doing things for our children. We so desperately need this and want to keep this. Thank you for your consideration. Melissa and Todd Sipple.
I have one from Lisa Teslo. The Teslo family of Beecher, Illinois, fully supports the renewal of Brad Cox's contract. As an educator myself, I've been more than happy with my child's education at Beecher Elementary. I know firsthand that having a long-term dedicated superintendent has a positive impact on the whole community. We appreciate the presence that Mr. Cox has at school events. We appreciate the communication that comes from Mr. Cox himself. We trust in the decisions that Mr. Cox makes for our students. My family would like the board to listen to the community and revote to renew the contract for our students. Thank you, Lisa and Jameson Tesla.
This is from Tawny Latz. Harold and I want to indicate our support for extending the contract of Superintendent Cox. Thank you, Tawny Latz.
This is from Sarah Murphy. Please read this at the meeting tonight. I support renewing Mr. Cox's contract. He has a positive influence in this community and school district. Mr. Cox excelled this fourth quarter going through uncharted waters with ease. He fought for each student to have their own iPad or Chromebook to help with the e-learning. He is continuing free lunch for every student for the entire summer. I have seen Mr. Cox at school events, sporting events, or just walking down the hallways, always smiling and saying hello. He has put all his faith and determination into the Beecher School District. One teacher I spoke with said, "I've worked with 10 superintendents and Mr. Cox is by far the best." Every parent, teacher, PTO member, and community member I've spoken with supports Mr. Cox, but somehow 4 board members voted not to renew his contract. That just doesn't make sense. Please reconsider your decision and renew Mr. Cox's contract. Thank you, Sarah Murphy.
This is from Trish Moran. I now cannot attend this evening's BOE and will not be able to call in, but I respectfully am sending my statement to be read, please, for tonight's BOE meeting. I would like to address the board to please reinstate Mr. Cox and add his extension for the next contract years. My experience with all the improvements that have been made from Mr. Cox and staff suggestions that the BOE has had to approve on so things could get agreed on these few years with us thus far have been extremely valuable in all aspects of 200U students and teachers and staff. Adding the nurse, this was greatly needed and will be needed with how the state of our nation is now with sickness, but with having 2 children with chronic medical issues, it was something valuable to all of the schools. Adding the computers, that was something that needed to be done. And boy, was it helpful to have the e-learning for our students. Windows, roof, painting, gym floor improvements, just to name a few. So in closing, I completely disagree with the decision to not renew Brad Cox's contract. He has gone above and beyond our expectations of a superintendent. We have lived here for 15 years now and currently have 2 children in the school district. I cannot even reasonably understand why it would be in anyone's best interest to not renew his contract at this time. He has made incredible improvement for our schools, but he has handled this pandemic with substantial determination to ensure the best interest of our children's education. No matter what the underlying factors are for board members to vote no, even if it's in regards to him ensuring he has employment, requesting extensions to duration of his contract, please reconsider and renew to extend Mr. Cox. Thank you, Trish Moran.
This is from Rebecca Emick, Beecher School Board members. I am writing this on behalf of our family in favor of renewing Superintendent Cox's contract. Our family was crushed like our community when we found out he was not renewed. From the first time I saw Mr. Cox at a school board meeting 2 years ago, taking note to show up at a kindergarten popsicle orientation, something a previous superintendent has never done. To this date, I have only been impressed by his commitment to our town and our children. I personally have seen him volunteer at our mobile food truck and many other places around town. Unlike the 3 previous superintendents my children have had, here he doesn't leave his office to introduce himself to our children while supporting our teachers and staff. He also leaves his home to participate in our community gatherings and events. This superintendent actually returns my emails also. All 3 of my children know who Mr. Cox is and are happy to see him around taking note of ways he can help them succeed. They were sad that he might not be there after this coming school year. Amongst other things, Mr. Cox has motivated the school board to make many necessary changes to our district, including school drive repairs, roof repairs, windows, and other security measures, not to mention encouraging the high quality of education my children are receiving. Please reconsider your decision not renew his contract. We need a committed superintendent to help our children. We need Mr. Cox. Thanks, Ms. Emick.
This is from Kelly Falani. Good evening and thank you for hearing my brief note. Being a 200U employee and parent of 2 students here, I appreciate everything Mr. Cox has done for us. I am very disappointed with the decision to not renew his contract. Not only has he helped us in the transportation department, getting us much needed new buses, but he makes himself available at all times. Besides driving a 200U school bus, I also worked as a lunchroom supervisor at the elementary this last school year. There are many occasions he came down to check on things, see how operations were going, and make sure we had what we needed for the children. Both of my girls, one at the high school and one at the junior high, have told me they see him quite often in the buildings, speaking with both teachers and students. I do believe he had been and would continue to be a great asset to our district. Thank you so much, Kelly Falady.
This is from Lynn Gorkowski. Hi, Marla. My name is Lynn Gorkowski, and I would like this statement read on my behalf tonight at the board meeting in supporting of keeping Mr. Cox as our superintendent. This is what I would like to convey. I have been a resident of Beecher for over 17 years and have 2 kids currently in the district. Mr. Cox is a great asset to our school and our community. Not renewing his contract without any apparent cause is not only unjust, but it also is quite frankly a blow to our schools. Hiring another new superintendent is not the way to go, especially when the one we have is doing a very good job keeping our district running well. I hope those board members that voted no to renew Mr. Cox's contract will take a look at all of the support and love he has received from this wonderful community over the past few weeks and reconsider the decision. It is what the community wants and needs at this time. Thank you.
I have an email from Martha Castro. She said she could not make it to the meeting since she works evenings, but she would like to show her support to renew Mr. Cox's contract.
And this is from Ben Uzeshin. Ben?
You said it.
It's a tongue twister.
I've been practicing. Where is he?
Wow. Where is he? Did he hear us?
And he said, I received this message from Chris Killis that I was asked to pass on to you so it could be read at the meeting tonight. I have to work. Please forward that the Killis family is in full support of Mr. Cox's renewal for his contract. He has been an integral part of this district since coming on board and has made the COVID crisis tolerable for the families with having e-learning available at all grade levels. Thank you. I believe that's all. And I will now turn it over to Mr. Gayum. Wherever he went. No, he's going to do a presentation.
Oh.
He's coming.
He's coming?
Patience, John, patience.
Oh, I got it.
Mr. Nam, did you want to introduce Mr. Niles?
No. So, Board, this is John Niles. He is actually the head of the case company that sends all of our foreign exchange students to us and finds them nice homes here in Beecher, including the one that Mr. Cox housed. So, Mr. Niles.
Thank you, Board, for having me. CASE stands for Cultural Academic Student Exchange. We're a small program. We probably place about 225 to 250 students around the country. And it's been a year this year. I actually just left a family in Moments that took our last student available. However, Beecher took 5 students from us last year, which was amazing. Actually, 3 of those students were 3 of the last ones left. If we can't place the students, they do not come, they get a rejection letter. So we owe Beecher a big thank you, and they have been selected as one of our partnership schools for last year. So we have a template for every student that came here this past year, and then each year if Beecher hosts, the plaque will get updated, and hopefully we can fill it. So we want to thank the board.
If your camera can handle the photo by me, absolutely.
I actually have a student that was here from January that's going to be here till January, and Sarah that just arrived yesterday from Spain.
Welcome. And thank you for being here so long.
Do what?
Can you announce the names?
Oh, yeah, I'll announce the names. So we had from last year, we had Shang Tong Sun from China. We had Lorenzo, who the Cox hosted, Martino. We had Elena Vader, that their works hosted. Alex from Korea. And Lucas from Brazil. So we are always looking for host families. It is a volunteer program, and given the COVID, we had a lot of students cancel, but Beecher is one of the schools that we can place spring semester kids. So if any families are interested, Jack will point you in the right direction. All right. Well, here.
Yeah,
Come on,
absolutely.
guys. Here's 35.
Slide here a moment. Get a haircut. Do I need to smile?
We can see your sweet teeth.
Okay.
All right, thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, thank you all. And we'll open it for public comments. Donna Leahy. Donna, are you here?
Hi, my name is Donna Leahy, Beecher. I first want to express my utter disappointment in the lack of attendance by the 4 board members that are not here. Also, I did a little digging into our new law firm since we were denied any information about them. I found some pretty interesting stuff. Let's start with a political party that the Delgado Law Group are heavily invested in, being one of their top donors actually. Citizens for a Better Stager. Follow along, folks. Citizens for a Better Stager. Let's see who donated, who some of their donors were. Delgado Law Group, James Vaselli, Illinois Gaming Systems, LLC, Friends of David Gonzalez, Friends of Anthony DeLuca, Alicia's House, and Goldie's Auto Body. Okay, let's look into the rest of them. Friends of David Gonzalez, who were their donors? Delgado Law Group, Illinois Gaming Systems, Citizens for a Better Stager, Friends of Anthony DeLuca. Okay, you're up, Anthony. Friends of Anthony DeLuca. Donors include Citizens for a Better Stager, Delgado Law Group, Friends of David Gonzalez, and the Unity Party of Bloom Township. That's a new name, let's see. Unity Party of Bloom Township donors include Citizens for a Better Stager, Delgado Law Group, Friends of David Gonzalez, and Friends of Anthony DeLuca. I want to talk about Anthony DeLuca for a second. Anthony DeLuca, who represents the 80th Ward, Chicago Heights, has recently secured, please let this number sink in, has recently secured $162 million and change for the 3rd airport. Be clear, this is big machine politics. Is this what we asked for, Beecher? This all started with them being welcomed into our schools through the back door. Follow the money. I've had several people tell me they don't have kids in the district, but they live here. Wake up, Beecher. Did we just witness the selling of Beecher's next election? Follow the money. My dad gave me some very good advice once. He said, and these 4 should have been practicing this a long time ago. I'm going to filter this a bit because we have future leaders amongst us. But my dad's advice to me was, don't crap where you eat. Thank you.
I can't read the first name. Victor? Aaron. Is it Aaron?
Yes.
Okay.
So I also would like to express my disappointment that the 4 board members couldn't make it. Since they've been at other meetings, it really doesn't make sense why now they wouldn't come. But I felt like I needed to show my face tonight. I'm sure most of you have seen my name by now and wondered who I am. Our daughter is 3, so I do not have a kid in school right now, but I will. I was confident that we were choosing a good school district for our daughter, especially when COVID started. I have family that works in Lincoln Way, and they definitely were not anywhere prepared for remote learning, and Beecher excelled in being able to take on that. Watching what has transpired over the past few months has absolutely disgusted me. I don't have much to say because A, you sit there smug, well actually you're not even here, and you don't listen to what people have to say. And B, I've said what needs to be said to the Attorney General, and let's just hope he takes action. The statistics show that it takes approximately 5 positive experiences to undo 1 negative, and that someone with the negative experience will tell 9 to 15 people about that experience. Stop and think about that. If 600 people sign that first petition, and those 600 people tell 9 people what's going on, you have 5,400 people talking about you. Several of you are business owners here in town. Do you really think your actions won't hurt your livelihood or your reputation? No, no one should boycott your business. I agree. But there is a difference between boycotting and not supporting a business that is run by people who continue to act unethically and have zero morals. How would you feel if one of your employees was acting unethically or with zero morals? Would they be fired because that's a reflection of your business? Now think about your actions and your answer to that question. I'll leave you with this tonight. I have some questions for the 4 of you. When you lay your head down at night, do you fall asleep with a clear conscience? Have you for one moment questioned if you're doing the right thing? Are your family supporting you as the community is working against you? Think about those questions and remember, Beecher is a small town. People will not forget.
Sheila Bringer?
You can come up more to the desk.
My name is Shaylee Bringer and I live in Beecher. I am a student of Beecher Elementary and will be going into 5th grade. I also attended Sensei Hernandez's free karate class for a short time. I felt he cared about me. I don't understand why you would fire someone who is doing good for our schools. What do you have to hide? If you won't share the reasons for your decisions, I don't feel like you're doing as good as you tried to make it seem. If you had a reason to fire Mr. Cox, I would understand and stop being angry. After finding out you voted no against our Chromebooks going home during one of the hardest moments of the school year also makes me question if you really care. My Chromebook let me see my teacher and friends, but I didn't know if I can make it through the rest of the school year. My mom, grandma, and aunt voted to put you on the board that would help decide what would happen during the school year. I feel now you don't deserve that. Being a part of this board means teamwork. I am a cheerleader, and if I didn't communicate with my teammates or coaches when something wasn't okay, my friends or I could have ended up hurt. Being only 10, if I can recognize that this isn't okay, then you should be able to recognize it too. For this reason and others people have said to you in the past, I ask you and Ms. Duchess to resign. I also still ask for the truth. Thank you to the members who have fought for us and still care.
Thank you, Jayla. I would be remiss if I didn't say that it takes a lot of courage for a young person to get in front of people, a lot of people, and speak her mind.
Can somebody read that so everybody can hear? Because I think she had a lot of valid points, but I think a lot of people were unable to hear because she was speaking too softly.
Your mother? Go ahead.
Shaylee stated, I am a student at Beecher Elementary and will be going into 5th grade. I also attended Sensei Hernandez's free karate class for a short time. I felt he cared about me. I don't understand why he would fire someone who was doing good for our schools. What do you have to hide if you won't share reasons for your decisions? I don't think you're doing as good as you'd like to make it seem. If you had a reason to fire Mr. Cox, I would understand and stop being angry. After finding out you voted no against our Chromebooks going home during one of the hardest moments of the school year.
Would you like me to? After finding out you voted no against our Chromebooks going home during one of the hardest moments of the school year also makes me question if you really care. My Chromebook let me see my teacher and friends when I didn't know if I could make it through the rest of the school year. My mom, grandma, and aunt voted to put you on the board that would help decide what will happen during the school year. I feel now you don't deserve that. Being part Being a part of this board means teamwork. I am a cheerleader, and if I didn't communicate with my teammates or coaches when something wasn't okay, my friends or I could have ended up hurt. Being only 10, if I can recognize this isn't okay, then you should be able to recognize it also. For these reasons and others, other people have said to you in the past, I asked you and Mrs. Ducius to resign. I also still ask for the truth. Thank you to the members who have fought for us and still care. Randy Flores.
Hello, Randy Flores. I live in Beecher, Illinois. I too would like to express my disappointment in the board members not being here, and I'd also like to point out, which maybe is a fact that these 4 board members were possibly not aware of, that the executive order from our governor, Executive Order 2020-27, with the in-person meeting requirements, was extended through July 26, 2020. So the fact that you could phone in or video into a board meeting is, they're probably looking at another possible OMA violation. So I just wanted to state that. So. Questions. I have numerous questions. So we'll start with, and unfortunately they're for the 4 that aren't here, so I'm gonna stand closer so hopefully they can hear me on the phone. Mrs. Weissel, you are in the field of education. If you worked for this district, would you feel as devalued and distrusted as our staff and administrators do? Would you want to continue to work in the type of environment this board has created? At the last policy meeting, you stated you spent hours and hours reviewing policy. Why would you work so tirelessly when you vote with the majority to just waive and disregard it? If you are so concerned about the policy being right, why do you stand by while it is being violated? I have no doubt that you have strong opinions, but do you really agree with what's happening on this board? People would respect you more, not for doing what you may have a right to do, but for doing what is right. Mr. Goldrick, you have a reputation for serving this community with your business. When I got into a car accident last year, I brought my car to Goldie's solely based on your reputation. I gave you and your business blind trust. Now, I would not make the same decision, and no, it's not because I'm boycotting businesses like everybody's calling for. It's because I can no longer trust you. Can you blame people if they choose to bring their business elsewhere? You cannot expect loyalty from people if you cannot be honest with them. Ms. Ducis, you're not here to see this newspaper article that I printed out from the Vedette when you ran for this position. You boast about your qualifications, stating one of your strengths is to collaborate and build teams. As a matter of fact, you mentioned teams over 6 different times in this particular article. Is Mr. Herman, Mr. Mazurek, and Ms. Pappas, are they not part of your team? You also stated that the board can improve by making sure communication of plans and progress is clear and transparent with the community involved. So how can you involve the community when you can't even involve your fellow board members? And I keep saying you, because you are the apparent spokesperson for this collusion. At the July 2nd committee meeting, you said the district and board require transparency. You called out fellow board members for being disrespectful and discourteous in their actions, yet 9 days later, you blindsided them with a special agenda. Do you understand how completely hypocritical that is? Why is there such a contradiction between what you say and what you do? Your words mean nothing if your actions do not back them up. Mr. Hernandez, Sensei, my kids were part of your karate program for 5 years. We stood in the back of class together and had numerous conversations. I sought you out for advice. I listened to your counsel. I looked up to you as a mentor and a leader in this community. One of the reasons Nick could stand here last month in front of 100+ people and speak was the confidence that he gained in your program. Livy and Nick both were taught about respect, leadership, and using their might for right. So why is there such a stark contrast between what you teach and what is happening on this board? You are leaders, teachers, well-respected names of our community. So why are your actions making people's opinions of you change? Thank you.
Tim Hartig.
I really thought I'd be addressing 7 leaders tonight, but hope you guys are listening. I know we can't tell. It'd be better to see your face. So my name is Tim Hartig. I live here in Beecher. And I actually came here tonight because I would like to support the 4 members who are not here. As a leader, I make decisions all the time. Some are easy, others are hard. Sometimes those decisions are widely unpopular, and that's just how it is. I get it. The main difference in this situation is that I always have an explanation for why I made the decision that I made. And sometimes if new information comes out or details are clarified, I'll change my mind because it's not about me. It's about achieving the objective. So when my wife had made up her mind really early in this current season, I questioned her. She had an answer for why she felt how she felt. I've listened to countless parents extend support for Mr. Cox. I've listened to administrators and students express their support. And as a side note, I'm not sure what the goal is or was, but you've caused the best letter of public recommendation for this man to go wherever he wants. So I guess he has you 4 to thank. Yet you 4 just plow through agenda item after agenda item. You've had countless opportunities to explain your decisions. And yes, this is a publicly elected board. You do owe the voters an explanation. Even the board members ask questions and try to understand. You offer nothing. You pretend like they're not even talking. So disrespectful. You should be embarrassed and you should be ashamed. All 4 of you. Each of you brings your own personal and professional experiences to the table. Your mindset and perspective on a range of topics. The whole purpose of having multiple people on the board is to discuss, to collaborate, share ideas, offer alternatives, discuss pros and cons, etc. And as a group, come out with the ideas and action items that are what's best for our children. Move the ideas forward, move the district forward for the current generation and for future generations to come. That's why you're here, right? I mean, I know you're not here, but that's why you're on the board, right? If it's not, then that's okay. You don't have to be here. You've proven that tonight. You can resign. You don't have to hide your face when you're in public. You don't have to keep being called out for not doing what you were elected to do, what you signed up and were elected to do. Just resign so that the people interested in doing the right things for the right reasons can come on board and we can all move forward and support each other. Thank you.
Bella Hartig.
Hi, my name is Bella Hartig. I am 8 years old and going into 3rd grade. I told my mom I wanted to speak at the board meeting because I think some of the things you are doing are wrong. Mr. Cox is a great superintendent. He helped build the new playground. He made sure that we learned during quarantine. We had all the stuff we needed to continue to learn. I wish you would change your minds and have him stay. He's good for our schools. I would also like to tell you about what I think of the way you are acting as school board members. Because if you don't follow the rules, what kind of example are you setting for me? You should be communicating with each other so that everybody knows what's going on and no one misses out on anything. As board members, you need to start acting like grown-ups and focus on what's most important, us, the kids of the Beecher School District. Thank you for listening to my speech.
Amy Hartig.
Hello, I'm Amy Hartig. I live in Beecher, and I just wanted to take a brief moment to say thank you. Thank you to the 3 board members who are fighting tooth and nail to do the right thing. Keep fighting and don't give up. We need you, and so do our kids. Also, thank you to the 4 board members who are not here, who are pushing through their own agenda. You have given me the opportunity to show my kids how to stand up for what they believe in, what is right. I've used this mess to teach them that their opinions should be spoken and heard, that they matter, even if it's just to me and my husband. I also wanted to make sure you are all aware that we're still here, we're still digging and fighting, and we're not going anywhere.
Ashley Belt.
I'm going to start with, I have a couple emails that were sent to me from people that are on vacation that couldn't be here. One is from Cindy Wishar, 627 Woodward Street. I have lived in Beecher my entire life and know many of you personally as far back from when I was going through the school system. Both of my parents, both set of grandparents, and my great-grandparents have all grown up here and remained here throughout their lifetime. My uncle, Darrell Yonker, was one of the first 2 scholarship recipients from Beecher High School. He even established a scholarship in his name many years ago. Even after his passing in May 2019, he made sure the scholarship would continue. I am old Beecher. My 4 children are 5th-generation students in this district. Through the years, there have been several bumps in the road. For example, when Brittany Williams was let go as the choir teacher due to cutbacks in the music program. Even when I didn't agree with the outcomes, I always knew the reasons behind their actions. I always felt confident that the children of our school were their top priority and concern. I always had the utmost respect for the board members. We, as adults, need to watch out for our children and make sure we are giving them what they need to become the best adults they can. They are the future of this community. This all changed earlier this year. 4 of our board members, Paul, Liz, Juan, and Carla, have taken things to a personal level. They obviously have an underlying agenda, blindsiding the other 3 board members, including President Larry Herman. Calling for a special board meeting, hiring attorney groups, consultant groups, etc., without going through the correct ethical steps. Violating too many to count policies on a continuing basis. Not following the oath that you took when taking on your position. The 4 have completely closed down communication with the other 3. How do you consider this transparent? How do you think this looks to our children? What lessons are we teaching them? They see adults not following policy. They see adults not having to be responsible for their actions. They see adults not working together and not negotiating or communicating. This is not how we want to raise our kids. These 4 have their own plans for our district, and it is all too apparent that the parents and residents of this community are not on board for it. Residents that don't have children currently in our schools are stepping up. What does this tell you? I have always been proud of our town and the fact that people moved here for our schools. Not now. Other towns in our area are using our board as an example of what not to do. It's embarrassing as a community as a whole. And I will not just stand by and watch this happen. Okay, the next one, there was a student, Nick Flores, wrote a poem that he wanted read tonight. It's called Set a Good Example. Set a good example is what I ask today. Set a good example and do things the right way. Set a good example for the students in our schools. Set a good example and follow all the rules. Set a good example and practice what you preach. Set a good example is what our teachers always teach. Set a good example by doing what is right. Set a good example, work together and don't fight. Set a good example is what you expect from us. Set a good example, it's our future you discuss. Set a good example, make us your priority. Set a good example with your choices and authority. To set a good example is what we should be taught. So set a good example because right now you are not. And he is only in junior high, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and this one's mine, Ashley Bell, Beecher, Illinois. Good evening. I am here tonight to not only make sure you are aware the community is watching you to help police our school board, since apparently you're not self-policing yourselves, but to express my utter disgust and lack of confidence in board members Liz Ducius, Juan Hernandez, Paul Goldrick, and Carla Weisel. Not just as an adults, but even more so as business owners and the leaders of our district, you are setting an example for the children of our community. Are you proud of the example you are setting? By disregarding policy and procedures with pushing your own agenda, you are telling them that bullying is not only okay, but acceptable to get what you want. By circumventing committees and deliberately violating policy, you are showing our youth that you don't have to follow the rules if they don't fit your wants. By not having transparency and an open line of communication among the board, you are instilling in them that you don't have to be a team player. Look out for yourself and your wants. Or that just because someone upsets you or does not agree with you, lash out by spreading false rumors in hope of destroying their reputation. These are not attributes that I want my children to mimic as an example of who they should strive to be. As I have stated previously, your toxicity is going to trickle down. It already has by not renewing a superintendent that has the support of our staff, students, and community. Mr. Cox has proven to be an excellent role model and asset to our community. I mean, just look how you and some people in the community have tried to destroy his reputation and his family with rumors and lies, yet he has shown he is the epitome of class and professionalism, letting it just roll off his back while focusing and working hard to provide the best for our district. Nobody will want to work with you in this hostile environment. Then we will lose our wonderful staff. Then as our district spirals down, our property values will decrease and everyone will lose. People have said it's not their fight. They don't have kids in the district anymore. As a taxpayer, it is everyone's fight. It is all our money. You are violating procedures and policy to spend at your personal will on consultants that the state said we don't need. To find a new superintendent that has nothing but glowing reviews. That money is better served being spent on district improvements that raise our property value and increase the learning of our youth. I understand that most of you do not have children in our district, and maybe that is why you don't care about setting a good example. But good deeds in the past do not excuse your actions in the present. Your actions speak louder than words. We all chose to live in Beecher for that wholesome goodness that a small town brings, not the corruption and self-serving attitude you are providing. Ms. Weisel, Mr. Goldrick, Mr. Hernandez, and Ms. Ducius, if you do not agree with the example you are setting, then change your actions now, starting tonight, this meeting. Clearly, by continually breaking our oath, your oath, and code of conduct set forth in our policy, 2-80, you four do not serve the best interest of the children, the district, and as a taxpayer, I once again demand your resignation from the Beecher 200 School Board.
Janet Paulmeyer.
My speech tonight is not about lies, lies, lies. It's about truth, truth, and truth. Put the dishes down. Janet Paulmeyer, 1160 Ash Street, Beecher. Did somebody say something?
They're unmuting their phones.
Okay, great. Thank you. The definition of mismanaged is to manage incompetently or dishonestly. This is the definition of Carla, Liz, Juan, and Paul. Carla, since you're not here physically, I hope you are listening loud and clear. If you're good enough to walk your dog, wave hi to me, and show up at committee meetings, you're good enough to show up tonight. But your incompetence on this board for the last 3.5 years has been an utter joke. You only ran because you wanted to benefit your kids while they attended school. You have misused school email when you verbally abused our previous high school principal, Nathan Schilling, our former superintendent, Jeff McCartney, along with our current high school principal and superintendent. You clearly show your incompetence from the last 2 policy committee meetings. Not being prepared, not organized, going against policy back on July 13th, 2020, flustered when asked questions, and going above Ron's authority, as he is the chairman of this committee, and conversing with Mr. Carter and Liz when she is not even part of this committee. Why are you even on the committee? Ron, I am asking you the removal of Carla from this committee. Please replace her with someone who has some common sense. I know the pool is shallow, but please do so. Liz, since you're not here, but I'm looking at your name tag, I don't know who left you large and in charge, but this is not acceptable. You are the definition of a bully, which this district does not and will not tolerate. All of the work that your sister-in-law has done to bring awareness of suicide and bullying, how ironic is that, now has all been washed away due to your ignorance and negligence of being a good school board member. Maybe you should listen to your family and resign. Juan, I'm looking at your name tag. You are no better than Liz. You think that you run a food pantry and packed, which, by the way, people are leaving due to you not standing up to bullying, that you can sit on a school board. This does not give you power. You sit there with zero interaction and vote either yes or no. You say you are there for our kids, but last year at this time, when I spoke up at a facilities committee meeting about how bad our high school soccer field is, your response was, quote, I don't want kids hurt and it should be fixed, unquote. Well, hell, it's a year later. Nothing has been done. You have proven you are not here for our children, but only here for your selfish self. Paul, I'm looking at your name tag now. Of all people, Paul, if you're good enough to go to work every day, you're good enough to come to this meeting tonight. I sat with you for 4 years on this board. I thought you were one of the good guys. What happened to you? I know this was a plan long in the running for you to get Liz and Juan on this board. Why? I don't know. Well, you sure know how to pick them, and I hope that you're happy with what you have created. I still remember when we were in your office after the graduation of 2019, and I asked you if you were going to resign. I'm not kidding when I say this. You showed me a letter you typed up, ready to go and resign. And you said to me, quote, I have had this written up for a while, but I can't do this to Juan and Liz, end quote. Now I know who's pulling all these puppet strings. I would also like to thank the 4 for not showing up at graduation last month. It was nice not to see destructive people to disrupt a joyous occasion. Julie, as always, thank you for your presence and grace at our seniors' graduation ceremony because it was well deserved.
It was my pleasure.
But hope is not lost. Every single one in Beecher knows what each and every one of you have done via social media and flyers mailed and dropped at people's doors. People you think are your friends are having second thoughts now. We will keep pushing because right now, the bad outweigh the good, and each one of you have created this toxic environment. Believe me, we will keep fighting for our children and our staff. Thank you.
Adriana Diachinko.
Good evening, and thank you to the three for showing up. And to the four, I'm not surprised that you don't want to face your community. But here we go. In 14 years, I have never spoken at 4 board meetings, but yet 4 in a row. Because guess what? You have my kids, you have my money, and our kids matter to this community. So parents are going to continue to be present, to be watching, to be listening, and to be speaking. I have patience. I'm a Cubs fan. We waited 108 years for a World Series. I will wait for you to get it right. On our elementary school wall, there's a sign, and it says, kindness matters. Be kind. On the junior high gym, there's a poster from Can Will. Let the players play, let the coaches coach, let the officials officiate. Can we add, let the administrators be administrators, and let the teachers teach, and stop the micromanaging and the bullying that some of the board members engage in? We're not afraid of you. No matter who you talk to or what you say, we're still here. Shouldn't our board demonstrate the mottos of our school and our conference? You represent us. I'm not happy. It's not about your name, it's about the name of Beecher. And that's what you're showing. If you listen to TED Talks, there was an educator named Rita Pearson. And she said, no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. Stephen Covey said, we should seek first to understand instead of being understood. This relationship is broken. There is no connection because on your end, some of you have stopped the conversation with silence and secrets. See, kindness extends out to respect for each other and our staff. Not communicating with your board, that's not kind. Calling a special meeting where no one knows the agenda but you, still not kind. Being part of a team. Kindness is respecting the staff. Liz, you said you needed experts in education. You have 66 teachers according to the ISBE. 75% have a master's or more in their field. That's an expert. You called them, you should have known that. You got a consulting firm through a loophole instead of using a committee. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. They have no digital presence. They haven't been in the classroom in 12 years if you look up their history. So what good are they in a digital instruction age where we're supposed to make connections and engaging our students remotely who are not physically in the classroom? What is the basis for your decision? We have committees for that, correct? And at the policy committee, Carla, when community members asked clarifying questions, your response was, oh, stop them from having an outburst. Maybe you need to look up the definition of a committee and a conversation. Because according to Governor Pritzker, the mandate, he says, is we should have our community members, our parents. They should be part of the stakeholder conversation. Those are not outbursts. And transparency and communication. So at the July meeting, Juan Hernandez was asked multiple times on camera, do you know Delgado would have any connections? He said no. And to James Vaselli. Shocker, you look through social media, we teach our kids, watch what you post. You need to take that lesson yourself because your response was not truthful. There are multiple pictures with Mr. Hernandez and David Gonzalez, the mayor of Chicago Heights, who uses Delgado Law Firm and Mr. Vaselli as his lawyer. And multiple pictures of Mr. Hernandez with the same circle of friends. Why didn't you just say my acquaintances know the law firm? That would have been a truthful, transparent answer. Look up the word, as you are not demonstrated the words out of your mouth. So, we want experts. There are 3 lawyers at Delgado who are experts in school law. One won an award for her work. Why aren't they assigned to this district? Why weren't they the ones put forth to get a contract? We want experts. You don't do what you say? Okay. Finally, being prepared. Per board policy, as well as a code of conduct from the Illinois Association of School Boards, a board member should be reasonably prepared, but yet meeting after meeting, we have 3 members quitting committees, not being prepared, being confused, advocating not following policy by wanting things put in the policy that were not voted on, going around other board members. That's not initiative, Liz, that's circumventing the rules. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. You need to model good behavior. Your teachers are evaluated on that. Your administrators are. Is it still do as I say, not as I do? You are clearly uninformed board members. Come prepared to do your job. or step down if it is beyond your capabilities or your interests. You could spend hours and hours, Carla, reading. That's not an exception, that's an expectation of doing your job. That's why your athletes practice every day. They don't just show up to a game. They're not congratulated. That's a requirement. Remember, if you know me, you know I love hockey. And I love the Stanley Cup. And they put their names on the Stanley Cup every year when they win it. And when the ring is done, it gets taken into the NHL Hall of Fame. And they had a commercial about their legacies, which is true here today. When you come into this world, the first thing you're given is your name. You spend your life making it into something. It is how you are known. It's how you're introduced. And as time goes on, it earns a reputation. Your name becomes your signature. It's often made greater by the company you keep. Ultimately, it is how you are going to be remembered. Your names are leaving a legacy in this village. Some not for your past charitable goodness or actions in the community, but for this. For actions that go against your words and our kids. Is this the legacy you want to keep? And if not, then I respectfully ask that you just step away from the board and allow others who wish to do the job correctly the chance to do it. And maybe I'll see you in September.
Ben Usession.
I really can't follow all this, to be honest. I have talked till I'm blue in the face about Mr. Cox and all the great things he's done and why I think he should stay. And it's been said a lot today already from, the comments that weren't read last couple of months ago. And I really didn't expect to come in here and have everything I was planning to say be already said by an 8-year-old. So it was amazing. I guess what I want to say is the performance of the board right now is just, I'm shocked and appalled at how poor it is. It is dysfunctional, and it is not acting in the best interests of anyone it should be acting in. The special agenda that we had at the special meeting last time was a mockery of the public process for making decisions that our town should deserve and should have. I could not believe to sit here and watch resolution after resolution pass. I know I usually get up here and just, say things really politely, but this is just wrong and it needs to stop.
Thank you.
That's it. Okay, I must have missed it.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Hardig, and I am almost 12 years old, and I am going into 6th grade. I am here to talk today because I want you to hear my opinion. I think the school board should renew Mr. Cox's contract because he's helping improve our schools. Also, he takes time to interact with the kids at Beecher schools. Before Mr. Cox came, I didn't know who the superintendent was. I never even saw him. I think that the way some of the board members are acting isn't right. They are pushing the other board members' ideas and opinions aside to get what they want. They don't seem to care about breaking rules or hurting others' feelings. In school, we learned about people who act this way. They're called bullies. In closing, I wish you would let Mr. Cox stay, and I hope that you will start working together and stop acting like bullies. Thank you.
I'm gonna address the whole board. My fellow board members, I've noticed under new business, item F on the agenda. I understand last month's meeting, you passed a motion to end our school district relationship with Superintendent Cox. As you know, I disagree, but I accept the majority decision at this time. Now I've received information starting the process of superintendent search on a Saturday again. The schedule states as follows of actual hiring. November 2nd, search firm brings final recommendations. November 9th, board selects final candidates. November 16th, board interviews superintendent final candidates. December 14th, board hires the superintendent. January to June, selected candidate begins transition pending board appointment. July 1st, 2021, new superintendent pending board appointment. I was hoping to speak with you personally tonight, Liz, for the board meeting to clarify this. I'm not understanding on December 14th, board hires a superintendent, but then on July 1st, 2021, the new superintendent pending board appointment. I don't understand that. But from the RFP timeline you presented, Secretary Deutsch, we will be paying the new superintendent a salary while the current superintendent is collecting a salary to shadow the current superintendent. Is that correct?
You've got to be kidding.
Is that correct, Ms. Deutsch? No answer. Okay. Great. Has anyone thought about the cost of employing two superintendents from January to June 30th? Again, here's where I come in fiscal again. Okay, I'll break it down. Under current superintendent salary, let's just say it's $140,000. I believe it's a little bit more, but I'm just going at where I'm at. Monthly salary is about $11,666. TRS, health insurance. Bi-weekly, that's $5,833. Weekly, that's $2,916.50. Does that sound correct? For 6 months, we will be paying a total of $69,996 to the superintendent-to-be and our current. Plus health insurance, I'm estimating about $5,400. And then, TRS about $2,500. I may be short on that because I don't know what the teacher's retirement salary is at this point. Were these financials discussed in a finance committee meeting and thought out?
Nope. They can't answer. Are they listening?
Are they on mute?
I don't know. Can we do a roll call?
Mr. Duncan, are they?
See if they're listening.
Well, I asked, nobody answered.
Yeah, they're there.
They're there. Okay.
I can think of a better way to spend $76,896 monies on what the district needs to enhance our children's education. That could hire another special education teacher, K through 12 teacher, a teacher aide, or use to finish a school building project or continue updating technology department. I have looked at this RFP and can't understand why we want to spend so much money while superintendent is under contract. This is not fiscal in my opinion and a waste of taxpayer money. I request you table that search until a later date while our current superintendent is under contract. I'm willing to talk with each and every board member individually, but I do believe that we're wasting money at this time.
And if I may follow up with that in public comment, according to the RFP, August 3rd through the 5th, it is scheduled to have initial screenings of proposals and selection of firms to be interviewed. I'm wondering if you've already done that, Liz? And if you did you do it independently or have you worked in a chain of discussion? I wish that the whole board was privy to the info. As I've emailed you 40 times this month and only received 2 non-answers from you to request information that I need to know about this RFP, about the law firm, about the educational consultants. I support what Mr. Mazurek said, and I would like to know if there's been RFPs that we haven't seen for the law firm, if there have been RFPs that we haven't seen for the educational firm, because that should all be public knowledge.
This meeting should not continue if they are not going to.
Yeah.
There's no majority, so it's not a quorum.
Okay, you don't even have a quorum.
Robert's Rules of Order, then you should pay your lawyer.
Excuse me, Mr. President,
Yes, Mrs.
I'd like to call a point of order.
Go ahead.
Are we still in public comment?
We are.
The superintendent search is included on the agenda for discussion today, and we can include those comments and questions during that time.
Are you relating to me, Mrs.
That's why it was
Deutsch?
put on and proposed to be put on the agenda for discussion with the whole board at the meeting today.
Okay.
Great. Actually,
You're correct, Ms. Deutsch, but I have a right to ask those questions in open or in executive wherever you want to go. But I appreciate if you address me on that next time. Thank you.
Larry, as president, you can remove stuff on this agenda. You can approve this and say yea or nay. You can remove anything you want to.
Excuse me, this isn't public comment.
It is public comment. We haven't been listening.
Then submit your form and address the board accordingly. Mr. President, point of order, please.
Go ahead, Mrs. Duchess.
Point of order, please control the people watching or attending the board meeting in the room.
Can you guys not outburst anymore, please? Thank you.
I would ask that if there's outbursts, that those attendees be respectfully asked to leave if they cannot follow proper decorum.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ducius. We'll continue to staff reports. Mrs. Black.
I know that I've already presented my report. I just didn't know if anyone had any questions.
No, but will you be here for executive session because I have some questions to ask?
If I'm asked to stay, absolutely.
I have no questions.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Meyer.
Mrs. Black, oh, excuse me.
Yes? Yes?
I noticed that you also provided a COVID return to school survey.
Yes?
I'd like to thank you for asking the community, asking parents and those involved. I was curious, what other groups has that been sent to? Is it just to parents? Is it to a broader community or other staff and members involved?
All three buildings sent a survey to the parents as we are looking for more concrete numbers as to who will be in attendance and who will be learning online so we can continue with our planning. So it was something that was just sent to our parents.
Thank you for adding that.
Sure.
Yes, Mr. Meyer.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You also have your board report from me in front of you, but I do want to, there are a couple points on there. Number one, I think last time in July when I had my board report, or maybe, I don't even know, I'll take that back. I think they made the decision, IESA made the decision not to have sports. That was later in the month. But then a week later they switched, and so now we are having sports again. I am working right now with our Canwell principals, ADs, our coaching. I've asked a couple parents to help out too to try to get guidelines where everybody's safe in terms of so we can have our parents at the sporting events. We think that's important. But we also understand that people have to abide by these particular protocols or guidelines that we are going to have. And like Mr. Cox has said before, even at our bus meeting with Marla this morning, you know, you wear your mask in school, you wear your mask on the bus. If we're going to have parents at games, you know, that's one of the things too. You have to wear your mask there. So we're trying to get, we don't have everything finalized, but hopefully in the next couple days, we have to get this finalized. Hopefully we'll have some places in the softball field, baseball field marked off for parents. We'll have a place for visiting fans, some spots where people can't stand or can't be. So I just wanted to update besides turmoil in education, the sporting situation in the IASA has been a little crazy too. So any questions for me?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gam.
As with the other two, you have my report. One of the things that is I omitted from my report, and I apologize, it was kind of a last minute addition, is the adoption of waves. That is an SEL program that is 100% free for the fall for our students. But before deciding the contract and saying, hey, let's do it for free, I want to make sure the board is aware. It is, like I said, it's an SEL program that our students would be able to reach out to Mr. Sargent and our guidance counselor all whenever they're available, and if they're in crisis, they will actually have a person on staff through the program that will help kids out if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and they're in crisis. Especially with the current pandemic, it wouldn't hurt to have a little extra help in that as a resource. So as long as there is no objection to that, I will sign that contract and move that forward tomorrow.
I hear no objections.
All right. Any other questions beyond that on my board report?
I can't stop laughing at your mask, I'm sorry.
That way I don't have to shave this bad. My wife says I'm very good looking in a mask, so I'm going to keep it on.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Cox.
Yeah, I just wanted to update that tomorrow night there will be a 7 o'clock webinar. Once we release the details of the COVID plan, I thought there might be a few questions. And, so if anybody is going to attend the webinar, which we will, Mr. Duncan has assured me we will record it and post it online for anybody who can't listen in. But for anybody who's going to listen in live, it might take a while because there are a lot of details. And we wanted to do this early enough, as was brought up earlier. Right now, we're all in the process of submitting whether or not our kids are going to be in person or remote. And so if people have some outstanding questions that they really want to have some concrete answers to before they let the school know where their student is going to start in that process. We thought we would want to try to have a Q&A, a webinar before then, so everybody can make that decision. So that's going to be tomorrow night. And then also, our facilities projects are going along very well. I think the only one that is not going to be completed on time is the gym, the junior high gym. I think it's going to be about a week late in its completion. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Meyer, but I believe because of the lack of air conditioning, it took a long time.
Yeah, the humidity, they couldn't work and they had to let it sit or adjust or whatever.
Yeah, longer than was anticipated. And so that should be all done a week into school. So the junior high PE teachers will only have to be super creative for the first week. And then they'll be ready to go. But other than that, we have taken on a lot this summer, and it's all being put to bed in the proper order.
Any questions for Mr. Cox?
I had a couple relating to the COVID plan. Mr. Cox, do you have any certain metrics that will be used to determine if the Beecher schools will be open or closed?
Yeah, I think the metrics that we will use are going to be not only what the community infection rate is, but also what the frequency of occurrence that we have. If we're in a situation where we have 2 positive cases in the first quarter and things are going along swimmingly, then we're going to keep an in-person option. But if every time that we open a school back up, within a few days we get a case and close it back down, and it doesn't seem to be working, then we always have that option and really that right to protect our students to go full remote. But we really think that we owe it to the community to at least set up and try an in-person model.
Right. Are you going to define those rates or, set a boundary if it's an above community infection rate X then? And, frequency taken into account? And then document that in the plan?
I don't believe at this point in time we are going to, because this situation and the variables surrounding it seem to change from week to week. And so I don't know that it would be in our best interest to put something in black and white now that we wouldn't know exactly how to hold ourselves to in a month.
Okay. What about consideration of staggered either start times or days or schedules? How is that considered in the plan, or could you give us some background on that?
Yeah,
So that we have less school attendance all at one time?
So our buildings are naturally staggered. The junior high starts its school day first, high school second, elementary school last. One of the things that we've always had on the table is a model where instead of anybody who wants to being in person, to limit that to basically half of the students and having some sort of like, A day, B day. And so that might be a model that we will, that's actually in our plan already, and that might be a model that we would look at if we do get in a situation where our in-person is not sustainable.
Okay. Can you clarify any guidance, or I didn't see as much information around social distancing and how we're offering that, facility maps or classroom layouts?
Yeah, the social distancing is a definite part of this, and we will social distance where possible. But I will make this point tonight. I'll make this point tomorrow night. The vast majority of the time that our students are going to be in the school experience, whether it's on a bus or whether it's in a classroom, the vast majority of the time they will not be social distanced. Okay, everybody needs to understand that. They will be in a mask, and we will social distance when possible. But if we have 18 kids in a classroom, 15 kids in a classroom, it's not possible to be 6 feet apart. If we have 50 kids on a bus, it's not possible to be apart. That's why it's been imperative this entire time to give families the choice. To say, I'm going to choose whether or not this is a safe environment for my student, for my child. And so if I, as a parent, make that decision, yep, I'm going to send my kid to school. We're being 100% transparent. We are not able to follow all of the CDC and IDPH guidelines, especially with respect to social distancing. And so if that is a deal breaker for you as a parent, by all means, engage in the remote learning process. It will be seamless. It will be the same content, the same live stream that is going on in the classroom. And so we want to make sure that the parents, that ball is always in the parents' court.
Well, since we've covered most of the reopening plan, in the next section, do you have anything further?
I don't have anything further. I just wanted to make sure there's an opportunity, for the board to have the conversation. Ron, did you have something?
No, go ahead, finish. I think that it was the plan, nothing's perfect, and we know that. Nobody knows that. But I always question and ask. I say, did anybody ever go to the daycares and ask how the kids are doing in daycare? I mean, there was never no study done on that. But anyways, let's get off that. But I do like the program of the reopening plan. You gave remote and you gave in person. I mean, as a district, we kind of satisfied everybody in both.
The thing that really I'm most excited about, proud about for our organization is that I really feel we've been able to put together a plan that not only provides our families choice, but has been responsive to what we've heard in the fourth quarter with respect to, what some of the parent concerns were, but also provides a learning environment for kids at home that is extremely similar to what they're getting live in person. The whole experience is live streamed back and forth. And so, nothing's perfect, and there'll be all kinds of room for improvement, but, I'm very excited about what we're going to be able to do to be able to maintain kids' student academic growth.
If it goes as smooth as the COVID when it first started, yes. Works out good. You did a great job. Staff did.
And our staff did an amazing
with the daycares, let's just see how many kids, because the kids are going to daycare. I mean, there's no studies.
No. But I mean, I do talk to the people at the daycare in town, and so far, so good.
Well, there you go.
I would just like to say, as a teacher, I've been watching this, you know, and the plan, the development of the plan and everything. I really like the half day because I feel that, especially with no air conditioning, unfortunately, that will help the kids a lot. I've been practicing the mask wearing with my own children and everything. I also know, and I have confidence in the fact that just like you did in the spring, when there were questions, you adjusted as it needed to be, and you were flexible and understanding, and you also modeled that for the administration and the staff and all the teachers, everyone. And something that was amazing in the spring that we all came together on is because the parents understood that the teachers are working their behinds off, and they appreciate them. And it's so important that we are all communicating, you know, that if somebody had a question or they don't understand something or they think maybe this would be easier, and they just talk to the teachers and understood that. That's how we came together so well in the spring, and you led that. So I know that this is going to be good whichever way it needs to be, and that you'll make the right decisions.
You know, one of the afternoon pieces that we may be able to start to unfold is, you know, because in this model, there's 90 minutes in the afternoon where students can do student-led things, so parents don't have to be there to shepherd them in that. And so as a part of that, Mrs. Compton, as a part of that, one of the things that we're really excited about is, as you know, we have purchased, and we will do training in the next few weeks real heavily on Study Island. And that is going to be used as a main resource for our TI program that we are extending from 5th grade, bringing into the junior high and high school. And Mrs. Compton is here to talk a little bit more about that.
Nice segue. Okay.
So I did share the district plan with the board, so hopefully you had a chance to take a look at that. So just like he said, we are wrapping up the program and being able to incorporate into the junior high and high school. We're really excited about that. All of our students are going to have some sort of universal screener that we're going to be able to use for a benchmark and look at where we're going to best service these students within the tiers of our RTI program. The nice part about the way we have set our program and our plan up is all of our students are going to be receiving RTI. You know, not just those tier 2 and tier 3. Our tier 1 students are still going to, you know, have access to Study Island, and our gen ed teachers are going to be able to use Study Island as often as they want within their classroom. So I know, you know, both at the junior high and the high school, we're going to be using them in the gen ed curriculum. It's going to be embedded within the curriculum, so that's going to be great to see. You know, once we give those screeners and we're able to have our RTI team meetings, that's something else I'm excited about. We've already established team meetings at the junior high and at the high school, so we'll be able to meet as a team and take a look at those benchmark scores and decide, you know, who might need some tier 2 support and what that's going to look like for them. I know at the elementary school we've already done a really nice job using our flex time and being able to give students small group instruction during that time and use different strategies to support them through that process. We'll be able to also do small groups at the junior high and at the high school during study hall time in tier 2. And then tier 3, it'll look similar, but it'll just become a lot more individualized at that point for those students. And again, with using Study Island, it's really nice when the students take that diagnostic, it gives them an individualized path. So it's very individualized for them, and so we'll be able to really fill those gaps and help those students be more successful. So obviously, you know, within the tiers, our goal is always to move them back. You know, if they're a tier 2 kid, we want to be able to implement that plan successfully and move them back to tier 1.
So it's a very fluid process. Constantly meeting with our team, to make those decisions, and obviously it's going to be based on that data that we're collecting through that benchmarking and through Study Island. So you have, and like Mr. Cox mentioned already, we have a significant amount of PD planned for not only our teachers, but our paraprofessionals, so that they're able to help our students as well and meet with small groups and implement the plan as well.
So I just wanted to say, as a teacher, I fully looked over this. I'm so happy for this being district-wide. I feel like this is going to be good to challenge kids who need challenge, to find ways to bring other kids, where they struggle and things like that. I especially love that it communicates between grade levels, so that I feel that each child is educated individually. So I love the whole plan.
Yeah, if you looked at the forms, I think our last form included in there is, it's basically a little mini plan of, the student, if they were in tier 2, these are the strategies that we're using, this is what they were doing at the end of the school year, so then that can be very easily, passed on to the next grade level teacher, so there's not that learning curve at the beginning of the school year of how best to help that student.
And this program would not be able to be fully implemented in the junior high without the school board making a commitment to add another staff member in that building. And so we thank you for that commitment, because the junior high students are going to greatly benefit from it. So
absolutely. Focus on the kids.
So any other questions?
I have a question. It's Carla. How is this going to be implemented? Let's say somebody's in calc class and they need help they're not understanding the material for the day, because obviously the classes are going to be much shorter since it's only from 8 to 11. How do they get help from their teacher in this program?
Are you talking in regards to the current COVID?
I was also asking about the reopening plan, and then they transitioned right into that. And then I was also wondering, it was kind of going from the reopening plan, and then it went right into this. So that's what I was wondering, how they would be able to get tutoring,
sure,
if they needed help. And then the other question is, are we expecting like 25 students in a classroom when this reopens? So those were my two questions. It transitioned right into it. So
I can take the first one. We have built into our daily schedule that there is time in the schedule built in for RTI at the elementary school specifically, and then at the junior high and high school level, they do have actually class periods that are designated for study hall time, and that is going to be time where those students are going to be able to receive those services. And then also, as Mr. Cox said, we have that time in the afternoon that, students are going to be able to schedule a Google Hangout or a Google Meet with a teacher and meet with them that way if they need more support through that avenue as well.
yeah, and to answer the second part of your question, our preliminary returns, principals, you can correct me if I'm way off base, but I believe our initial returns we're looking at about 70% of our students being in person. Ish. Elementary school has almost 80, of course they do.
I just heard Ms. Weishold speak, and she said something about tutoring. You guys all know this is going to go back to where it's been for almost 3-4 years. What's the pushback on volunteering tutoring, peer tutoring, which you have seniors and juniors that can help our students? A volunteer, there's a lot of teachers in our community. I see a few in here tonight that could come to the school. I understand it's a small little background check through the regional that can come in and help a child that's struggling. I get it, RTI is great. I love it. I love the plan that I've read. It's great. But a tutoring program, why? If somebody has a question on a math problem in the class that day and they don't get the instruction, so why can't they just go and one of the tutors that come in and have a tutor and hey, go sit, give me a second, let me finish. And then come and say, Mrs., I'm making this name up, Mrs. McGee, can you see what little John's doing today? And can you help them maybe? Or the kid may want to sign up and be a peer tutor or something. And, instead of having to falling behind, there's a tutor there. We have retired teachers, we have teachers, we have staff, we have other students that are very brilliant here in our community, in our district. So why is the pushback against tutoring? Because I've been fighting for this since 2015. What's the pushback?
We do have tutoring at the elementary school in the morning.
Yeah, 30 minutes there and 30 minutes there, but why not during, like when we have at the high school, you have a study hall. That we can have volunteer tutors that can come in and work with those kids, Jack.
So at the high school, before the COVID decided to destroy all semblance of schooling last year, we introduced the study hall last year that was brand new to a common period for all the kids. Our aides actually are in there every afternoon, so the kids can actually go and get our tutor, or our aides who are in the classroom to help tutor them. And then the next step in that is to actually have NHS kids who get service hours to come down and do that. I know Ms. Lang has reached out and offered her services to read papers. So it is evolving. We don't have people coming in right away, but
No.
it is happening, yes.
No, but since 2015, I've asked. We have retired teachers that could come in and do it. I'm not here to argue this. I'm just here to make my point. Is we can have retired teachers that can come here to the school and help those children that may need that help. I get it. RTI is great. You know, you meet Ms. Black or Miss Compton or Mr. Meyer and Mr. Gahan yourself. You guys can see a student and push them, further into RTI. I get it. But what about that kid that just may have that one math problem that he may need a problem with, and then he gets it, the light bulb goes on, and that's it. All right, we'll talk about
Ron?
it.
Excuse me, Ron?
Yes.
Last year, my daughter actually had an issue during COVID when we had remote learning in her math class, and she actually had the opportunity to reach out to the math teacher and figure it out. She had to do it on her own without the class, but I think that all the teachers are open to be doing that.
I'm not saying they're not. I don't want nobody to think that, because I know we're on YouTube Live and all that, but all I'm saying is we have teachers, retired teachers, if you go back to Prairie State College, you look at their AAAC, they have people that come in there and donate their time, retired teachers in math, English, whatever it may be. Why can't you have that here?
Our tutoring program is definitely something that we can continue to look into as well.
I appreciate it.
Of course.
Can I make one comment? I know it's not public comment, but just to kind of follow up on the tutoring thing. I kind of understand what he's saying as well. Like, for instance, with our children, there may have been a problem that they had or a question, and there could be 5, 6, 7, or 8 students that go to that same half hour of tutoring. What do you have? 5 minutes to answer that child's question, and it may not happen. So I think that's more along the lines of what we're thinking here when there's more volunteers.
All right. Ron, you had requested to revisit the committee of the whole.
I did. Board President, I reached out to you to ask you to put this on the agenda. I asked that all of us to reconsider committee of the whole so that we can all meet as a whole. It's the same thing as your committees. As I spoke about this is my 3rd time. Trying to bring us together as one. You still have your chair and you still have your members who will vote it out, but everybody has a say, everybody's there. Everybody has the same information, and then it goes to the board for the full vote. I ask that if you guys are willing to, let's put it out and redo it.
If I may, I just would like to follow that up. Like, I feel that right now, as a board, we need much more transparency. We need so much more communication. And I feel that with different committees not functioning as they should, or things like that, I feel that if we were a committee of the whole, that it would help us to increase our effectiveness and also our understanding of each other. So I would also like to ask again that people would reconsider their votes to have separate committees.
Oh, I would speak against it. If you start putting all of the committees into one, it's really going to extend the time spent, or you're going to shorten the amount of time that could be spent on one subject. So if we have to cover every committee in an evening, I think it's prohibitive.
And I respectfully, as I go to all of the committee meetings, because right now, as I've made it known. I'm not very confident in the communication of the board, and I believe that it's my duty to hear everything. So I'm going to all the committees. There's not a lot of board members that do that because of work or whatever, and because of COVID, I have a lot of time right now. But I did even when I was working. And I feel that while it will be a challenge to keep us on task and not spending too much time on any one thing, I feel that there's a lot of things happening right now that we are not understanding.
Mr. President, the chair still controls that meeting.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's a point of order at all these. So,
I'm just saying that if you have a facilities meeting and a finance meeting and a personnel and a policy in the same evening, and each goes an hour or better, you know, as the conversations go, it's...
When we say committee of the whole, though, to put them all together is not what it was meant to be. It's to put it as a committee of the whole. It's to put us all together for, say, the facilities meeting that day.
Or to follow an agenda if there might be a couple items from the others. Neighboring districts that are, you know, multiple times the size of this district are able to function really well under committee of the whole, because they see that that's a way to be cohesive, you know. And it doesn't mean that you have to discuss every single committee at every committee of the whole. It's just whatever needs to be discussed according to the agenda, you know, just a consideration.
So, it's Carla. So, I think over the 16 months, this is the 4th time it's been on the agenda, and I've been having trouble getting on items on the agenda with the board president, so I don't understand how we keep getting this on the agenda. I voted for it twice. The 3rd time I voted for the small committees, and I don't understand how this keeps coming up. This is an effective way to run a board. When people don't get their votes, then we bring it up again. So right now, I think it would probably be a 5-2 vote. But this isn't, no other boards function this way, that we just keep bringing up votes all the time for some people.
Our board is also changing very much in the way that we are working. And that's why at some points, just like in every working relationship, if something's not working, it's time to reassess and try different things to make us more successful. And I believe that that's why this is warranted to be brought up again, because we've had some very big changes in this board and our relationships, and I think that more communication is needed.
And I know that I certainly have been transparent. I put out whole documents. I put out an entire document on that policy committee. And then you wanted to get in there and change it, and then I didn't even think that was appropriate, because that would, to me, I'll ask the lawyers, but that, I think if you're working on my document, that would be violating the Open Meetings Act. But I think that I have worked very hard to get all the information to everybody. Sometimes, honestly, administration wouldn't give the information to everybody on the, or they'd only give it to the information on the person on the committee, the people on the committee. But I think we've really been trying to be fair, and I want all the information too. But
I don't know what accusation you're trying to make, but I wasn't trying to. If you're talking about me, I wasn't trying to edit any documents. I was just asking questions.
Carla, I do believe at that policy.
Oh, I was talking about that one. I was talking about that one document developed on the policy committee for the work that wasn't my job, was not. And then you wanted, I viewed it with you, and then I think you wanted access to editing. I'm like, well, I don't think we can edit, but I'll ask the lawyer if we should work on documents.
I do believe at the policy committee meeting, Carla, that I stated that we will not remove or add anything that was not approved by the board. So I'm not sure where this is coming from. I'm a little baffled by that.
I never asked to edit any document from you, so I don't know what you're asking.
I got a request to edit the document that the entire folder on the policy.
The way that Google Docs work is if it's sent outside of somebody that you can open or not, sometimes you have to request to access. So I'm wondering if maybe somebody had asked for a request to access because they couldn't open it. That's just how Google Docs works sometimes. If it's sent without you sharing it specifically. But otherwise, I mean, at least I can speak for myself. I've never asked to edit any documents. If it's shared directly with the person, you can open it.
You want to make a motion, Mr. Missouri?
Mr. Herman?
Yes, go ahead, Mr.
Juan
Hernandez.
here. Yeah, I just wanted to say I agree with your opinion on the committee as a whole. Also, I appreciate the fact that some members do go to all the meetings. So we kind of got the best of both worlds if we just keep it the way it is.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Missouri, would you like to make a motion? Or
No,
are you withdrawing?
No, I'll withdraw.
I'll just keep going to all the meetings.
Okay. And I need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Goldberg,
Yeah.
Herman,
Yes.
Weissel,
Yes.
Duchess,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Pappas,
Yes.
Missouri.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all.
Everyone have a good night.
I don't see, once I went into the executive to hit start, the old meetings went to like archive, and I can't like get back in. I can't actually make a meeting with the same setting. But our live promote, like now I'm back on live right now. So I don't know if that, it's on our website and everything. I'm not sure. I can definitely try, but it's archive meeting. I can make a new meeting, then we'd have to get that.
Can you give me information?
Yeah, that would be a whole thing.
So then
I will
executive,
put in those numbers and see what happens, but,
Executive session.
We haven't heard from anybody, so I'd like to go back in.
I'll definitely, see what happens. Haven't seen this before, so I apologize for.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound. You entered 94095537690. This meeting ID does not exist.
So
Please re-enter your
that was the
meeting
original
ID
meeting
followed
ID.
by pound.
So we'd have to distribute another meeting ID. Or we could potentially use the, I don't know if I actually, I did already. I have a new one created. Yeah, it's just that it was, I'll have to see what, we've done this quite a few times now.
Does
I'm not
anyone
sure.
have ibuprofen?
I do in my car.
That's a roll.
I have ibuprofen in my car. I'll be right back.
I'll send it off to them.
Do you have the pastilles? Or what is it? What is
All right, Goldwick, Hernandez, Duchess, Weissel. I'm going to send them this.
My wife will go back on video.
yeah, he said that meeting live.
Yep. Yeah, we're back on video. I'm just trying to get the audio.
Is it muted?
Huh?
Is it muted?
It's not, no. I can mute it if you'd like. I thought we were going to start shortly, but...
I don't think I want to hear that.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
That's already better.
The meeting has not started. Please wait or try again later. Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue. You have joined the meeting as an attendee and will be muted throughout the meeting. This meeting is being recorded. You are unmuted.
Ducius is in the new meeting. Yeah, Ducius is in, so we're just waiting for the other three. Yeah, okay. Carla. We have Carla and Liz.
Yes, Larry, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Thanks.
Carla? Are you on?
Yeah.
Juan is here, so.
Juan, are you on?
Mr. Duncan, who do you have showing on your screen?
We have Juan, Ducius, and Weissel. We're waiting on, we need to call the.
Maybe he's driving over. Other families have pulled their funds, hiring a teacher from their house, and I think the teachers last year.
Juan, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Liz?
Yes, I'm present.
Paul can't get in. Okay, we're waiting on Paul. I'm just going to put him on the... Take off this one?
Yeah, this is by this
But we...
Yeah, I can hear you now. I'm going to put you on speaker, okay? I'll put you by the microphone, okay? You're welcome. Okay, Paul, you're on speaker now.
Okay. Okay, we're back in regular session. All right, I need a motion to accept the resignation of Matthew Sipich as teacher aide.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Weissel,
Yes.
Ducius,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Pappas,
Yes.
Missouri,
Yes.
Goldberg,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes,
motion carried.
need a motion to accept the resignation of music teacher Kayla Hughes.
So moved.
I got Paul and Juan.
Okay, Ducius,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Pappas,
Yes.
Missouri,
Yes.
Goldberg,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes,
Weissel,
Yes.
motion carried.
need a motion to accept the retirement of Thomas Pachaki as custodian.
So moved.
Second.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Pappas,
Yes.
Missouri,
Yes.
Goldberg,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes,
Weissel,
Yes.
Ducius,
Yes.
motion carried.
need a motion to accept the employment of Keith, is it
Cuccio.
Cuccio as teacher aide with a hourly wage of $14.69.
So moved.
Second.
Pappas,
Yes.
Missouri,
Yes.
Goldberg,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes,
Weissel,
Yes.
Ducius,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to accept the employment of Jenna Lake Becker as a music teacher.
So moved.
Okay, Missouri?
Yes.
Goldberg?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to accept the employment of Larry Lorenz as full-time bus driver.
Second.
Duchess, second.
Goldberg?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to accept the employment of Diane Allen as a full-time bus driver.
Yes. Oh, so moved. Sorry.
Second.
Okay, Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Goldberg?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to accept the employment of Scott Austin as junior high school boys basketball assistant coach with a stipend of $2,070.
So moved.
Second.
Who was the first? I'm sorry.
Me.
No, Julie.
Okay, Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Goldberg? Herman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to approve the fiscal year 2020 substitute caller stipend in the amount of $2,821.50 and the fiscal year 2021 substitute caller stipend in the amount of $2,934.36.
So moved.
Duchess, second.
Okay. Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Goldberg?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to approve the existing board policy as it currently stands and as presented.
So moved.
Oh, this is the policy discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is Weissel. I'd like to say, for the policy discussion, over 24 policies were discovered by me as being touted as current board policy, both online and also in the hard copy red binder version, without board approval. Most policies were changed without board approval. Some were changed but not updated, and one policy was completely changed with a different meaning after it was approved. None of the board was aware or informed of this happening. This policy manual project wasn't getting done, and it started in February 2018. Mr. Cox said at the July 6, 2020 Policy Committee meeting that he was being stonewalled by the School Board Association. Mrs. Duchess started contacting them herself during this process. With both Ms. Duchess' assistance and my hard work, the project is ready for approval today. Neither of us should have had to do this. However, the project was over 2 years and not getting done. I spent at least 40 hours over a 2-week period straightening this out. Then I spent additional time checking and rechecking and even listening to previous board meetings for accuracy. None of this was my job, but the policies were being changed without board approval. I felt like I had to do it. Page 1 of the Board of Education Policy Manual states, this manual may be changed at any time at the sole discretion of the board and/or the superintendent, whoever has appropriate jurisdiction, subject only to mandatory collective bargaining requirements. If this is how the manual is being changed, please stop. The board should be approving these changes that were made. They're not really changes. This is what was originally done, and now they're going back to where they were and where they were before all the changes were made.
Well, I'd like to thank Mrs. Deutsches for going outside and not including the chair. Thank you, Ms. Deutsches. And Carla, I asked you at the last meeting, and then I get this tonight. Thank you, Carla.
policy that is presented is everything that, as it has been approved through board vote over the last many, many years, and it is ready to be put online with IASB correctly. Thank you, Mr. Mazurek, as chairperson.
I would like to thank you and Carla for your assistance in this.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'd like to add a few more comments. The information obtained with the IASB was factual. I'd also like to recognize the policy committee and the review efforts of Member Weisel. She has spent extensive time reviewing detailed edits from the various district versions provided. In addition, this project was started over 2 years ago due to the lack of updates and responses by the district was not accomplished timely or as requested in partnership with the IASB. There were also various edits made by the district in versions that were not board approved or discussed in prior meetings. Therefore, the board has to restart this process and reapprove these versions and make a significant amount of further edits to become up to date and in compliance with current requirements. My understanding is that this version, yes, could be posted online as our current policy manual, but still requires a significant amount of work in order to incorporate the legislative updates that have happened and any additional changes required or requested by the board. In addition, my communications with the IASB were taken to the committee. They were taken through the committee. No discussion was had at the board level. It was all shared fully with the policy committee. Thank you.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, can I have a second?
Second.
I second it, Carla.
Okay, Hernandez? Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Mazur?
Yes.
Goldberg? Yes. Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion to approve the amended fiscal year 2021 school calendar as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Pappas?
Yes.
Mazur?
Yes.
Goldberg? Yes. Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to approve a technology purchase order T21-28 to CDW-G for a 1-year subscription of AAD for Intune Office 365, Windows Server device, and standard edition license in the amount of $8,151.50.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Mazur?
Could you please,
Go ahead, Liz.
can I ask a question about just describing the needs for the equipment this year? Could you explain?
So this is actually an annual renewal for
Okay.
software licensure. These are the server and laptop software that we use every day, and this is something that we renew every year. But it's over $5,000, so we wanted to make sure it was brought to the board.
Thank you for that, and thanks for adding the additional clarification.
Okay, I think we have a roll.
Yeah, I motion.
Okay, do I have a motion? Pappas, second by Mazur. Roll call. Mazur?
Yes.
Goldberg? Yes. Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
And Pappas?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I need a motion to approve the tentative fiscal year 2021 school budget as presented.
So moved.
I would propose that we table the approval of the tentative budget so that we can review it in committee, please.
I would second that motion.
We have to deal with the initial motion first. The initial motion made by...
No, I don't know that we do. It hasn't been seconded. And then now we've got 2 seconds on the other one.
Well,
What
I'm
is
sorry,
policy?
the other one interfered. We have to deal with the first one first.
We have to follow Robert's Rules of Order.
What's what I'm asking for? Is there a second?
Second.
All right, there's a second for the motion to approve the tentative fiscal year 2021 school budget as presented.
And just to make sure that everybody is clear, the process is a tentative approval in August, and then if there are committee meetings that need to be held or further conversation, we also get in additional revenue and expenditure information that will change all of the budget numbers. Hopefully not a lot, but they will change slightly over the next 4 weeks. And then all of that work culminates in a September formal approval, final approval. So that's the process. However the board chooses to proceed, you let us know.
Because this is tentative.
Yep.
But this is what's getting posted for 30 days, and we didn't even receive it until Thursday night.
It doesn't matter whether or not the board approves this. It's going to be posted. This budget is going to be posted for display because that's what has to happen.
Oh, this doesn't have to go for a vote then?
I'd have to check on that, whether legally there has to be. I think, I've never not done a tentative approval, which I don't know if that's law, but that's what I've always done. And like I said, for the next 4 weeks, it's a living document. So really, there's no reason to not approve it.
Except for we never even discussed it. And that's not the process that we used in the other 3 years that I was on the board.
In addition, there was no explanation or any descriptions provided on any of the assumptions or key items included in any of the revenue or expense items included in the draft or the tentative budget proposed.
This is part of the job description of a superintendent.
I would assume that there would be a finance committee meeting sometime between now and the final approval in September.
Because you have to start somewhere.
Agreed.
So we take the tentative
Right.
and then we work with that.
Right, but if we're not required to approve a draft for 30 days, I don't know what the approval is necessary for.
We're required to post a tentative budget for 30 days. And so whether or not the board approves it, we're going to post it.
It might just require another meeting,
I can look into
another
that.
school board meeting.
I can look into that.
Roll call.
Goldberg? No. Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
No.
Duchess?
No.
Hernandez?
No.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Mr. President, I assume you're done.
I am, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
So on the next item for superintendent search, I would like to table this item because under 2:150(8B) in our policy, it states that personnel should be going through the hiring process and authorization to post an interview. And as Ms. Duchess did this RFP and started the superintendent search, this actually should be going through personnel according to policy, so I'd like to table it. So I'd like to motion to table, no, it's not an action item anyways.
No, it's an action item because it's included in the agenda.
It's not a
So we just had all these hirings and resignations and none of them were on the personnel committee agenda.
Right, because those are management issues. When it comes to the superintendent, that falls under the personnel management for, as it states, for hiring process and authorization to post an interview. So it's in our policy that this needs to go through personnel.
It's also in our policy and by board governance that the superintendent is employed by the board, including all 7 members.
Yes,
so I
that's
would
why,
propose that the whole, I would propose that the whole board be involved in the search process from start to finish.
Well,
and that this be a board discussion item or special meetings be held with the whole board to be involved in that hiring process upcoming.
Yes, the superintendent is most definitely employed by the whole board, and as the board will be included in the interview process and everything after that. Again, as the policy states, hiring process and authorization to post an interview comes from the personnel committee. As the chairperson of personnel committee, I would like to table this to talk about it in personnel. Moving forward, of course, there are different parts in the hiring process that include the entire board, but not at this moment.
I would also disagree because the specific requirements that we're looking for a superintendent all involve the whole board and not just the policy, or sorry, the personnel committee. So again, I encourage the board to consider the whole board involved in the superintendent search.
Well, I think what we're talking about, Liz, is the procedure of the search, not the actual workings, but just what procedure, and that should go through personnel. In other words, the filing of the RFP and
in the screening. Yes, absolutely.
The filing of the RFP was already posted subsequent to the last special board meeting directive.
Okay, so August 3rd.
And so that information.
August 3rd through 5th, according to the RFP, there was scheduling to screen these superintendent search firms. Did you do that by yourself?
No, there were. Let me explain, please, the process that was held as indicated in the RFP schedule. So the RFPs were appropriately posted. It's my understanding that Superintendent Cox communicated with the IASB and firms Ray and Associates and shared the RFP directly with them. And then the only requests that we received back were the two, both from the IASB and from Ray and Associates, that was fully shared with all members of the board. Their full documents that they proposed for the search process.
Okay, great. So since we have the results from the RFP, then I believe that, again, so that we will follow board policy, we will bring those two companies to the personnel firm to discuss the hiring process.
No, I would disagree. The board needs to be involved in all steps of the hiring process and propose a motion to that effect.
So, you know, again,
to decide as a team.
We just decided not to have committee of the whole, and to honor separate committees. This is one of the policies that go towards a separate committee. You cannot circumvent that and decide to disregard policy. So, again, the president has spoken and said that this will go to personnel.
I propose a motion that the board consider, wait, how is that, I didn't follow where the president already made that decision?
Yes.
Because there's also a policy of explaining that, you know, the superintendent is hired by the whole board.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Over and over again in section 3.40 exhibit that's attached there.
Yes, and that's the rest of the process, which that's when the whole board is in, you know, with the interview and stuff like that. But when we're talking about the superintendent search, that would be the hiring process and authorization, et cetera, and that has to be done through personnel.
Mr. President, wasn't it also precedent that in the past you had involved the whole board?
Only after a certain point.
Mr. Herman, I was there, and that's not how that happened. It was a full special meeting, and that is not how that happened. It ended up on an agenda. No, It was the entire board.
Can I ask all board members in regards to this matter, if we're talking about hiring another superintendent for the RFP, which I asked earlier,
yes,
of $140,000, that's just an average, because that's what I, give or take, what our superintendent makes now. So we'll be hiring another superintendent, from what I see here, and be paying them $11,666 plus TRS and health insurance while they shadow our current superintendent. Does anybody take
I'm
that?
not sure that I'm not sure that that's clear or what I was thinking or whatever.
Okay,
So
well, it says it right here on the
you said that at the
RFP.
last meeting, and
Agreed.
I'm not sure that that's what.
Listen, let me
It was
finish.
kind of like a transition process, didn't mean it
all right.
was like we're hiring two superintendents at the same time. But I'm glad you brought it up here, because this is where we can discuss it as.
Okay, well, listen, at the RFP, it says right here, January to June 30th, 2021, selected candidate begins transition pending board appointment. Okay, hold on now. And now, July 1st, 2021, new superintendent pending board appointment. What is it, guys? Because I'm confused. Maybe you can fill me in. And I just want to know if you guys are looking at, we're looking at about $76,896. Plus another 12 to 15 on the search, so that's about 8091. I asked you guys to go back to the finance committee to figure out this, where we're going to take this $96,000, where we're going to take it from and use it. Are we going to use it from the reserves for this, or are we going to use it for this? I asked you guys to take this back to the finance committee. I think this is to be a great.
I don't think that's been decided like that. Doesn't it have a date of July 1st or something like that on there?
No, Carla, it says January.
Nowhere in there is, I don't think that's been decided, so.
Listen to what I'm going to tell you. This is the RFP right here, Carla. I got it in front of me.
You know it hasn't been decided.
It was
Yeah, but that doesn't
approved
mean
on
it's gonna-
July
a
13th,
person's gonna
Carla.
start.
Okay, you
What?
continue to keep cutting me off, okay? And I'm a little tired of it. So, December 14th, 2020, board hires the superintendent. It's right here in the RFP. Who wrote the RFP? Secretary Deutsches, is correct?
We worked on it, yes.
Okay. Now,
We'll handle it.
okay, all right, so this is not a trick question. It says it right here. I want to know where $76,000 of the taxpayer money is going when we already have a superintendent. You guys want to go to a superintendent search? Well, let's start it in April or May, because I don't understand why we have to start it now when we have a superintendent under contract. I'm not understanding. Nobody wants to explain to me. That's a finance question. You know, maybe the finance committee should look at that.
I would agree if that's a concern of yours, but that also has to happen first. Transition doesn't necessarily mean that they're hired. They could be under contract to start in January to July of 2021.
Okay, Liz, even if you went to 3 months, so we're going to hire somebody and they're going to wait 6 months for a job? I'm just curious.
Transition for free?
This is not about the superintendent here. This is about money, actual fiscal money. I'm asking, is it this been thought out?
Right, and none of that has been communicated. committed to
Right, and
by
I'm
the
asking
board.
you, so
It would
have you
all be a
gone-
board decision.
Have you gone-
No, July 13th, you approved this RFP. So you approved this timeline that we are living by as you already are bringing us companies that you have brought from your RFP. So you guys, the majority of the board approved this RFP, okay? And in this RFP, it says from January till June, there's a transition period. There are not any superintendents that I know, even if they're amazing, like Mr. Cox, that would work for free. So we have to pay that person if they are going to be transitioning. It's a simple question. This is your schedule. What is your plan with it?
I'm asking on the financial end of it, because $76,000 can do a lot of things for we can hire a teacher, like I said earlier. This is not an argument point with you, Liz. This is, have you thought this out in finance where we're gonna get this close to this is rough, $85,000 at? I mean, I would prefer to spend it on something that's gonna improve the life and the education of our children, but it's up to you guys, man.
Yes, the finance committee can consider that.
But that doesn't mean that's when the person would start. Please make that
Agreed.
clear.
December 14th says board hires the
I mean, I
the
understand
superintendent.
that you guys want to find more issues, but
No. I'm not
There
delaying this.
are
I want to make sure
also,
we're doing this correctly. I'm not going to be surprised at any point, and as I just got this, well, the new companies on Saturday, again, I want to make sure that we are looking forward to the things that are on the schedule that you're not answering any questions about when it comes to how this is going to look in the next 6 months.
Well, maybe we could clarify the language if we knew who prepared the RFP. Liz, you said we?
Yes, I prepared the RFP, drafting it for the July 13th agenda.
I had nothing to do with it, Mrs. Weissel.
I did not. You used the word "we."
Mr. Hernandez and I worked on the agenda items that we discussed, that we prepared. We worked on the agenda items in preparation for the meeting to prepare the materials.
So Liz, real quick, just to get a clarification. So you're telling me that you guys want to start this process, and I got the RFP here that you approved, and it says, I'm just following what it says here. So you're telling me this is not actually in stone, we can change it anything we want to do?
Yes, all of those items are subject to board approval. The board is not, somebody is not going to transition without board approval or without a tentative contract or without a proposed contract offer.
Okay, but that goes back to what I'm asking, a transition. When do you plan on that transition? Because I don't feel we need 2 superintendents. I'm just curious. Why couldn't this be held off and, you guys have spoke? Like I told you, I disagree, but I respect it. But why this hold on until let him finish out his contract and move on, and then after that, 3-4 months before, and then move on at that point? Because I'm really baffled why I got to spend taxpayer money again to hire another superintendent to shadow a superintendent.
I think that it's clearly evident that what we need to do with this RFP and with the search is that this all needs to be clarified in personnel.
No. I would disagree and ask the president to consider a vote from the board so that you understand the intentions of the whole board and not just the personnel committee.
It'll come back. That's what separate committees do. Mr. Herman?
I'm tabling it.
Mr. President, I
Yes.
make a motion.
No.
Excuse me.
Go
you
ahead.
can't do that. You can't do that.
Yes, I can.
Mr. President, I make a motion that the whole board
He already
be
tabled it,
involved
Liz.
in the super.
He already tabled
Nobody
it.
voted on tabling it, Ms. Julie. Nobody voted on tabling it. Mr. Herman, I make a motion for the whole board to consider,
I believe.
to evaluate
I
the
believe, Liz,
superintendent
it's
search
in.
process as a whole board.
I
need a
believe,
second.
Liz, if you'll listen, it's within my purview to table it to send it back to a committee for further discussion.
I'm kind of having some concerns about the board president with electioneering and tabling things that we were in the middle of a discussion about. I asked for security there because I thought we lost control at the last meeting. And
I didn't see anything
I copied the board
happening at the last
president.
meeting except people expressing themselves.
The public
Mrs.
comments,
Weiss.
the public comments were not read, and that would be on the board president. And I thought that the lawyer there would help to provide some more control at the meeting. And he was attending at no cost. And he was attending at no cost, and the board president said no. So I do have some concerns. Last time there was pounding on the glass. I thought we had some.
I think the Beecher police handled that very well.
Absolutely, they sure did.
Please move on.
Yes.
Ready to go.
Okay,
Mr. President, don't you need a motion to table it?
no, I don't.
He's the president. He does have some duties and powers.
If you guys could just explain to me as soon as the finance can come back, I would like just a board president. I want to know where this money's going to come from to hire 2 superintendents.
Okay, let us get to the personnel committee first, and then we can go through the finance committee.
That would be great.
Mrs. Duchess, when would you be available for a personnel meeting?
I can follow up with you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. We can go ahead and schedule a finance if you wish.
Yeah, I'll follow up, Larry, on that availability as well. I need to check with Mr. Beecher.
Mr. President.
Yes.
I request that a policy meeting be scheduled to handle the policies now that we have accepted the policy meeting, so that I can do my job correctly and get it right this time.
Okay. When would you like a policy meeting?
Monday morning, 10 a.m. Monday,
I'm sorry.
5 p.m.
Yes, I can do that. I go back to work on Monday, I'm sorry.
Mrs. Weissel, are you available at that time?
What was the date and time again? I'm sorry.
August 17th.
August 17th, at what time? At
5, did you say?
5 p.m.
Yes.
At 5 p.m.
Yes.
And I'd like to thank you guys you and Julie both for the great policy advice and the hard work you guys did as a team.
Julie, are you available?
I am available.
Okay, Finance Committee, August 17th.
Wait,
5 p.m.
No, policy.
I have a question, and this
Policy.
is a legitimate question. So what we need to do with that policy is send it to the IASB, and then they're going to send back changes. So I think that may not be enough time to start. We need to wait, and not changes, but they're going to provide updates. They're going to provide a bunch of information that we've been waiting for once we get into the system. So I'm not sure that is all going to be ready by August 17th. I understand that we want to move on this,
No.
and I've put a lot of work into this.
Hey, Carla?
I don't know if we're going to hear back from Ken Carter by then, and he's going to have everything changed. Unless you're trying to incorporate the changes that were kind of put into the current policy that wasn't the current policy. Is that what the purpose of this is?
No, Carla. We had some things to take care of afterwards, some policies that were out there that we couldn't before that we need to fix and get them updated. So I'm not sure where you're going with this, Carla. I don't understand the direction you're going tonight. But
The rest is up to Marla. That is all her job and taking care of all of that. So we don't take care of that portion.
Marla?
Right, but the IASB person, this will all get submitted, and then he will provide us with a list of questions and information that it can all be updated with the press updates and all of the changes.
We're aware.
Of the proposed changes through the years, like the marijuana and that type of thing. But if you want to meet, we can do that and kind of discuss the changes that were put in the current, what was proposed as the current policy, but was not the current policy. Yes, we can go over that.
Okay, but I understand there are a couple that have to be gone over. So policy meeting 8/17, 5 p.m.
Yeah, Marla, can you get that agenda out? Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays? Meeting is adjourned.